If in qualifying you could have like some kind of HUD which shows a car that is like the delta is pole, and you have 19 other cars moving up and down the delta in real time, I'd watch qualifying. That's how you get me. There's no other way right now.
Wait, they don't have those available in the
I've
team
never
viewer? Because I'm pretty sure they do.
I've never checked. If it has that, then maybe I'll do it.
Huh.
But I never checked.
Fair enough.
I'll have to check now.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe later.
Holy shit! But
Yeah, did they like run the Large Hadron Collider last week sometime and we changed timelines or something, or what?
I don't know. But also, I feel like this was a perfect example of what happens when the field like teams up against one driver, because that's what it felt like to me. Because like they were not racing hard at the beginning. Everyone was nursing their tires because they knew what was behind them on hards. Like, and then freaking Sergeant Slaughter like just fucked up the whole race. Like that,
Yeah,
him going out when he did was the reason that Red Bull had no chance, because everyone got on hards. So
I still think Red Bull had no chance because their car's not set up for this track.
I agree, but if there was any chance, that would have
Yeah,
been
if
that
there was any chance,
if he
agreed.
could have run it out and stuff. But as soon as they were all in the equal tire, like it was obvious they had nothing. They had absolutely nothing, and you're just like,
I mean, Verstappen still made up like 4 seconds in like laps.
granted, it's still
Like right
impressive.
there at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still impressive, don't get me wrong. And again, if you lose one race in an entire season, I still don't think that's a loss. Like, it's so you don't.
Championships are already won.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no one that's gonna get enough points to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Michael, what about your guys?
Who were my guys?
Come on, you know who your guys are.
Let me see. I got my notes here.
That was intense.
That was,
Last 10 laps.
that was worse than Ferrari last week.
Hot take here. Lewis Hamilton should have won it.
Oh.
There's an argument to be made with also Lewis taking fastest lap. It's at that point. An argument to be made that had Lewis not been behind George Russell and arguably been held up in that final hustling Sainz on the line, that Lewis could have passed all of them and won that race on pure pace. And I think that is not unfounded. I don't know how much to back it up that moment, but I think that is something that is on the table to be discussed. And with that said, George just bottled it, man. It's like George tried to open up the corner a little too much, just clipped the wall, and like that was it. That happens. That happens in racing. It's unfortunate, but that was just a racing incident. Yeah, it's like Norris clipped it, but he clipped the angle, but it didn't fuck him. And George had clipped it, and it seemed like it might have cracked his suspension, and that was it.
Yeah.
I feel like Russell
That's racing.
What's it called? You know what I'm talking about, Jeff? When you're like motorcycle riding and you just follow the rider in front of you.
Yes. Yeah. The thing you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to Russell.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. There's a term for it.
I forget what it is too, because they talk
Target
about
fixation.
it. Yes.
Target fixation.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. 100%. It's the worst thing you could do in like fog or whatever, and especially in an F1 race. Like.
I feel like that's what Russell did.
So like Norris hit the wall, and he's like, I got to hit the wall too, because he did the same thing. And it's like he was thinking about it at the moment, like he should have been thinking about it. That could have been what happened there.
Yeah, no, that was wild. But hey, wait, before we get too far into it, I want to take a pause because we got to get into Michael's Mad Minute. And we got everybody here, so let's get into it, Michael, if you're ready.
All right. Hey, what's up? Bringing you the Mad Minutes. Here's the information we got right now. Alfa Romeo. No one's happy. No one... sorry. No. Yeah, not for me. I'll start with that there. No one's happy. Bottas's car died. I didn't even see it. AlphaTauri. Yuki Tsunoda. Woman, pray for your mans. One day, maybe he'll get a car that can move forward. Lost it in the points, though. Fucking amazing driver. Good rookie. What a lad. Hashtag fuck DR. Respectfully. Haas. K-Mag got in the points. Good for him, I guess. Haas is still there. Whatever. Williams, they were there, and they were pretty meh. Alpine. Gasly, P6. Good work. Ocon's car died. Bad work. McLaren. Look to the points. Lando. Hustled the fuck out of Carlos Sainz. Amazing job. Amazing work from Lando there. Aston Martin. Terrible weekend all around. Fernando deserves so much better. Ferrari. Outstanding work from Leclerc. Stayed in the hunt the entire time. Almost got a podium. And Carlos Sainz hot take. Is Carlos Sainz the second best driver on the grid? Mercedes. Amazing work from Lewis. Again, argument that he should have won it. Hot take. Maybe he should have won it. Speaking of which, oh, Georgie. Poor Georgie. And finally, Red Bull, Perez, they got on the points. He got on the points. That was pretty good, I guess. And then see how much fun we can have when the FIA handicaps Max Verstappen. See how fun that was? They should do that shit more often.
It was actually pretty underwhelming for me. Until the last 10 laps, at least.
Yeah, and that was my
people. They kind of just kind of waited. I think what happened was literally like everybody literally believed that Max was going to come back from all the way back from where he was, and be in the hunt. So they were like saving their pace for him. Yes, everybody was waiting for it.
Everyone was in a holding pattern. It was 100% what was happening.
Yeah, and then once they realized, oh wait, he can't make up this gap. Oh wait, he won't make up this gap. Oh wait, we can win. Okay, let's go. And that's what happened.
Like when everyone moved over to hards, and you can see that dramatic of a pace change from every single driver until Max gets back into like a comfortable place of like he can't win the race anymore. Like, give me a fucking break. Like Sainz is literally coming over the radio like, I could go like this all day. If like this,
I can go fucking faster. No, it's fine, but we need to hold this pace for later. Yeah. So no, they literally all believe like, no, Max is going to win this race if we don't do this shit. That's how much practice he has right now.
It was a collective decision to like have someone else win a race this race.
Yeah, so it was like anybody but Max. Like literally anybody but Max.
I have two theories on what's going on with Red Bull.
Okay.
The first one is I don't think the car was set up for Singapore. The second one is they already got penalized for the gearbox changes. And he was having gearbox issues. So I think they were trying to nurse a bad gearbox so they don't get penalized again.
I think you're right. Or at least wait till they're on a track that they can overtake easily with the penalty that they receive. That's 100% probably what it is.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really good point, Steve.
I think they're having some parts issues and they're probably pretty close to the cost cap, so they're just trying to cut costs now. Mm-hmm. They're like, the championship's already won, so we're not going to spend any more money on this thing.
Yeah. Man, everyone was just sick of it, huh? They were just sick. It's like you play Mario Party. You have a friend who owns the game, so they play the most Mario Party. So when you play, they usually win in Mario Party. And then one night, everybody's just like, "Fuck anybody but fucking them. Anybody but them. We do not care who wins. As long as he loses, if he loses, we all win. So let's just make sure he loses." And that was kind of what that race was. It's like they're this far down the grid. This is never happening. This is never happening ever again. So let's do it right now because it's never happened ever. It's not going to happen ever again. And they made sure that man stayed behind them.
Yeah.
Because also they fully believe that he had the ability to come back up and win that race. Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's 100%. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, 100% wild, and I can't even. Because that was my thought too. It's just like, this is a perfect example of what happens when someone's just like, we need another winner. Like,
but dude,
Max versus the field. It's
nuts how like 1 week he's 30 seconds ahead of everybody, and then this week he's 30 seconds behind the lead.
Yeah. He fucking did that, didn't he? Max Verstappen literally turned 19 professional drivers into the field. Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, I thought it was hilarious because I'm just like watching this. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, oh, no. Like, dude, this is like, as soon as they switch over those tires, like, everyone's just like, get him fucking back there. Like, get back there. Like, everyone's diving on him.
It's just like defend like your life fucking depends on it.
Like, literally, you're in pre-race and you got the Haas drivers being like, we're not even supposed to be here. Like, if we can get a point, like, we're going to be happy. But then once they're up against Max,
we have been told to keep you behind us or die, okay? That's what they told us. Yeah. They said, we don't care if you die.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised Red Bull didn't drop in and change out their hards on the safety car.
I was too, but I think their main thought was, and I don't think it would have worked out the way they thought, as they were talking about on commentary. They wanted to get Max up in front so he had clean air. I don't think it would have mattered if he had clean air. I think he would have got out there with clean air and they would have just fucking passed him one after another again. You know what I mean?
I think if they put him on medium sooner when that safety car came out, he probably would have closed closer to the top.
I think so too. Like I think if they had switched it instead of putting him on the hards, if they had put him on mediums twice, like that would have been. I think he would have been top 5 at least, and there wouldn't have been that 20-second gap between 4th and 5th or 5th and 6th or whatever it was.
Yeah,
but
I think if they played the safety car the right way, it would have been totally different. But they didn't. So
yeah, and as much of a Red Bull fan as I am, I actually agree with Michael. I think if Hamilton had been the lead car, he potentially would have won. I think Ferrari fucked up by not pitting Sainz, sooner, or putting him on the hards as long as they did without any kind of other like plan. And I think Hamilton would have cut through better. My only wild card is, and the only reason I don't think that might have happened is because of Norris. Norris has had Hamilton's number all year, and even in this race, like Hamilton had to go off track to like pass Norris in the first place, and even after that, like he gave the place back, but then once Norris was in front of him, he had no chance of getting ahead of him, and it wasn't until they did the tire changes that would have like potentially changed anything. And even then, like we saw what happened last time Lewis went up against a McLaren on hards and he was on mediums, and it didn't go well for him. So
he was fucking on softs. That wasn't even mediums.
Well, oh shit, you're right. I forgot about that.
I think not only just Norris, but Sainz teaming up with Norris to keep Mercedes behind him.
That's a good point. I forgot to mention that.
Hamilton a massive, even more challenge.
Yeah.
On top of that.
That was the best racecraft thing that Sainz did in that race, was like, let me know as soon as he's outside of my DRS. Like he literally towed Norris along with him.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, come along, buddy.
When the radio came over, they're like, Norris, 0.8. He's like, yeah, it's on purpose. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. Which is super smart on his part. Like, I mean, that was the only way he made that happen, because they couldn't keep Leclerc with him because of how tight the pit box was when everyone came in. Which, again, I feel for that guy. He's the best company man. Like, I'll say that. Like, Leclerc is the best company man. He says the right things. He does the right things as Ferrari. But, man, that guy gets the shaft every time. Like, fuck. Like, Jesus, I feel for him.
Yeah, but he's just kicks up his feet after the race with his freaking Bordeaux or something, and he's just like, c'est la vie.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I get to drive a race car for millions of dollars and lose. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, what do you think if Piastri had actually had the upgrades that Norris had? Like, if they were able to actually like team up and fight together as an actual team instead of just benefiting from Sainz needing to benefit from his competitor, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
because Piastri still finished 7, like without the upgrades. Like, he's proving to be very, very good with what he has.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I don't know, everything since like midway, like since McLaren got their upgrades, like I feel like this season has kind of like just been like insane since then as far as like predictability.
Yeah.
So
it's been great because that's at least there's something to like some meat that we can have, with everything that's been going on with the Red Bull. But yeah, I just I hope this is more to come. Like, I hope we just don't go back to the same old when we go to Japan. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I was more like the Mercedes fight at the end was just hilarious to me, because I'm just like, all I could think of was like the Ferrari guys being like, what is it? Be careful, but like
no risk, no risk.
No risk, yeah, no risk, but compete. And I was just like, all right, well, no one said no risk to them apparently, because like Hamilton's
no, they both wanted to win really badly.
Right up his.
And then at some point, yeah, it's like George clips the wall and just goes like straight off the track, and Lewis is like, podium now.
You just
like all of a sudden
you just see the white smoke and him going straight, and you're just like, oh man, he's gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, that my first thought, honestly, my first thought was, oh, that's embarrassing.
I know.
Yeah, it's like, yeah,
you're literally at the point where everyone is tuned in on you and like watching your matchup, and then like you literally lose because you overshoot a corner or you ran into the side,
and you went from third place to literally out of the race within seconds.
But that's the risk, man. Like,
yeah,
that's
part. That's racing.
Yeah.
That's racing.
Russell wanted it. Russell
Oh.
wanted it so hard. He put everything out there.
Yeah,
And
he did.
You can't say he didn't
No,
give it
sure.
110%.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
what
maybe,
I appreciated.
Maybe
about
you made the
him.
thing though. Maybe he shouldn't have. That's it though. That's the thing about it.
Maybe
But did Mercedes still get a third place? Yes.
Probably.
if it
Or maybe
if,
he did too much.
I will, same as like with Michael, I'll argue that if it wasn't for Russell, it would have been Ferrari 1-2, because they would have paced that race. Like, no one was challenging them. Russell was the only one pushing Sainz at any given point. Like, that was the only reason that, like, I feel like we had any kind of excitement at the end, was because Russell was pushing mid race more.
You still
You
feel
know.
like it would have been Ferrari 1-2 even with the pit lane fuck up?
Yeah, good point. No, that throws a wrench into all of it. But if we take that out as well, like, that's the thing, is if we were to have a race where there wasn't any, if Sargent hadn't had his accident and Russell wasn't pushing Sainz like he was, I think we could have had a Ferrari 1-2, because he could have towed Leclerc the same way he was towing Norris towards the end of the race if they were to plan that. But again, there's a lot of things that would have had to fall into place for that to happen. But I just, there is a scenario where I think that it could have been a Ferrari 1-2 in that race if they'd done it right.
Yeah. If you take out all of the variables, sure.
If you put it completely in a vacuum with only positive outcomes for them,
Yeah.
they could have totally won.
Yeah.
And it sounds like
then
I'm being snarky when I say that, and I'm not.
But I feel like Russell also crashed because he had the pressure from Hamilton behind him.
He does.
as well.
Yeah.
He had the pressure in front of him and pressure behind him.
Well, it's hard when you got Iceman, breathing down your neck, and he would literally eat you for breakfast if given the opportunity to win a race,
Dude, the Mercedes looked like sharks coming out on those mediums, dude. Just like on the hunt. It was freaking badass.
It definitely harkened back to, like, previous years, which was pretty fun. Like, it definitely, like, I was just waiting for Bono to come over the radio and be like, it's hammer time. Like,
It was pretty dope right there at the end, just seeing them, both of them back to back, just like, we're coming for you guys.
yeah. What's wrong, Michael? You seem unenthused.
I'm trying to find. Looking at the pit strategy, I'm trying to find what position did Max start in that race.
11.
It was 11. It was 11, and only Max, Checo, and Bottas started on the hards, and everybody else went. Leclerc went softs
Yep.
for 20 laps instead of mediums. Everybody else been medium hard. Well, Hamilton went medium hard, medium to try to hustle people to the back of the line. I'm wondering if Verstappen starts on the mediums if he is in the podium. I have nothing to back that up. This is me spitballing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely reasonable. No?
I don't think so. He just couldn't get the grip the whole weekend, regardless of what tire compound he was on.
They had good race pace, though. That was the only variable that would have benefited them. That was the one thing that they had the advantage over the field on, was their race pace.
So is Singapore generally a slower track?
It's high downforce, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I
It's
just
definitely.
think they weren't set up for it. They
No.
just didn't.
I mean, Monaco was one of their weaker courses, even though,
He won that.
they won that, but that was just because because they were so fast at that time that they were able to make it up in the straights. Whereas I think that everyone's caught up at this point from a standpoint of the floor downforce and stuff like that it's becoming more and more competitive, which is great, because
Yeah.
I fucking hated watching him fuck off into the distance every race. As much as it's fun to win, it's more fun to have a race like this where people are trading blows and you're like, what's gonna happen? I mean, it literally looked like Russell and Hamilton were gonna surge and have a 1-2, and that was gonna be the first win Mercedes had in 2 years. And it's yeah, I thought that was gonna happen, but it didn't, and all because of Sainz, is his headiness when it comes to driving. So I thought that was really cool. I mean, it was crazy because my first thought when the race ended was, if Max was not gonna win and Red Bull was gonna lose their record, or have the record end, they don't lose the record, but the record ends. this was the best case scenario for me. Like, Sainz out of the Ferrari, first of all, is the one that beats them. I like that. That's poetic for me. I was a Ferrari fan before Red Bull was on the grid, so I think that's cool. Sainz of the Ferrari drivers wins because he's going against the grain every race and like has to like basically win on his own accord without the extra help or strategic advantage of his team because of the way they've been performing. And then Norris second, and because it's McLaren, and I just think that's a cool story. And you know, Hamilton getting third because you know he's Hamilton and he deserves that. If Russell had gotten third, that would have been my ultimate, because then you know Hamilton still is just like, it's right there, like, you know, gotta go a little bit more, but like still I think it's good that he gets the win because you know Mercedes has been making moves to be more competitive, so it's nice to see. It's nice to see 3 different constructors on the podium. Like, I think that was cool. The fact that it was no 1, 2, or 3, 4. It was all different constructors on the podium.
I feel like in this race too, Sainz seemed to be more in favor of the Ferrari team than Leclerc, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree.
Sainz is commanding that team, it feels like.
Well, I mean, like, he feels like he got preference to Leclerc this time for like the first time this year.
He's been driving better, I think. Well, let me see.
I think if we get 2 poles in a row, I think you've slapped them in the face with the baguette to where they have to like listen to you.
That's French. That's racist.
Hey,
you should have said some kind of spaghetti or pasta dish if you want to go down that road.
With spaghetti, come on, just get out of here.
With the ciabatta.
The ciabatta. Jesus. Speaking of baguettes, what the fuck is going on with Alpine?
Their cars keep dying. And their car died the other weekend as well.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like they're complaining about these engine issues, but I mean Gasly still finished 6th. Like that's not like it's nothing to sneeze at. Like are they just being lazy with their development, or are they actually having real problems with their Renault engines?
Lord have mercy. I don't know, but it's not great. It's like Alpine's car died. Like Ocon's car died, and he was not with it at all.
Dude.
No, bro. I felt so bad for him though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gave me flashes to Leclerc when he had that he just had that outburst.
Yep.
That's all I could think of. I was like, poor guy. Like always to the ones that don't deserve it. But yeah.
I wish we could see like the cost caps and where everyone's at, so we could gauge like how strategic they're being with their cost caps, since that is part of the strategy now.
Yeah. No,
because like maybe Alpine's the same thing as Red Bull, where they've just been doing so much that they can't afford to do anything else, and that's why they're having issues now too.
Yeah.
Like how many races are left in this season?
6, 5, something like that, I think. Yeah.
And everyone, the constructors already won, so like, why would you keep putting money into it at this point?
Yeah. Good point. I mean, I would kind of think the same thing to an extent.
I mean, Alpine's not going to get second in the constructor. They're not going to get third in the constructor. So save your money for next year if that's the way cost caps work. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's essentially, I mean, it all resets every year. So it's a true P&L.
Put your money somewhere else for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But I mean, yeah, it's still wild. I mean, it's gonna be crazy in 2026 when the new constructors come on the scene, because I feel like that's when the real silliness is gonna happen with people shifting around. Because right now I feel like everyone's in a holding pattern.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Sainz, his contract ends next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, so that's gonna be wild. Do we think there's a scenario where because Audi won't be on the scene yet, so do we think that there's a year that he goes where he doesn't have a seat, or do you think he just moves to Salva like early?
I think
he can go either way.
Sainz is still hungry. He wants to race.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna sit out a year.
That's true. Plus,
But also, if he does, it's like he's still gonna be highly wanted no matter what. So.
Yeah.
I think Sargent's gonna get dropped.
Probably.
Lawson's gonna get a seat.
Yeah.
Lawson, that seats Lawson's, I think.
Yeah. I think so.
You think
so as
Lawson
well.
will go to Williams though?
Might be an upgrade, actually.
I think the rumor that they've been circulating online recently, where Tsunoda goes to being a reserve driver and Daniel and Lawson are on AlphaTauri, I think that's where they go for next year.
I think Daniel gets dropped in totally. This guy's coming in, this super for green rookie's coming in, and he's showing you up in 3 races. Where if you've raced how many, you're a veteran.
I would agree with you if they didn't just have the Nick DeVries debacle happen. I think they're gun shy because of Nick DeVries coming in and not performing the way they expected him to after being flashy right out the gate.
We'll see.
But I mean, I wouldn't put it past them to kick Daniel, but I just think there's part of me that at the time right now, I think they would still keep him. If Lawson continues to perform like he's performing right now, yeah, Daniel's out 100%.
I put Lawson in freaking Aston Martin right now.
Oh, yeah, dude. Speaking of which, the window licker wasn't even on the grid.
Yeah,
And instead, Alonso's like, I'll be the window licker this week.
Jesus Christ, man. What the
well,
fuck
yeah.
happened?
So Alonso was on.
I'll be your son, Mr. Stroll.
Alonso was on the radio saying this car's undrivable, which that's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good.
right?
A driver his caliber is saying that, and a driver who's driven in dog shit cars like him is saying that. And then Stroll in qualifying crashed so bad it removed a quarter of the car from its frame. I think also damaged fiber cell, so they couldn't fix it in time. Wasn't even worth it.
There's no way they were fixing that in time.
Yeah, so they had to retire before the day even began. And so Aston Martin is going through some stuff right now.
They fucked up the pit stop for Alonso, and then Alonso just fucked it up worse.
I know when they showed the replay of him going over the pit lane exit, I'm just like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah.
It's not Fernando Alonso that just did that.
Probably
no
a dude
way
that's pretty.
he just did
A dude
that.
is pretty frustrated. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I would say so too. Well, didn't they say there was some debris that was potentially stuck under his car that caused him to overshoot, or was it all?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that. I just saw that he was locking up, having issues with locking up or something.
Yeah. No, it's that's wild. Feel bad for the guy, but yeah, I mean it's that's that. And then I mean Haas, you still Magnussen finished in the points. Hulkenberg not so much. But yeah, I mean it's crazy. It felt like there was so much going on, and then when you start to break it down, you're like, well, actually, I guess it didn't. There's some hairy moments, for maybe 6 laps, but other than that, it wasn't anything super crazy.
I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a whole lot of team radio between Max and Red Bull.
See, I thought that was.
I think Max just sat back and was like, "I'm just gonna take the L this week."
I was literally just about to say that. I was like, I don't think we heard any radio because I don't think they thought they could do anything. I think that
They reprimanded him a couple of times. I was watching Max. I thought he was going to charge. He thought he was going to charge through the pack like everybody else. I was watching his on board for a while, and they reprimanded him a couple of times about I think tire temperatures and brake temperatures a couple of times.
Yeah.
There was discussion there, but not a ton.
Well, but that's the thing. I think because of that discussion, and then after that safety car happened, Max was just like, "Well, fuck. All right. Well, I could have been passing guys, and you told me not to. So now we're behind Sainz. So I think that was he probably went into pout mode a little bit, So
yeah, but still, I was expecting more rage from him, I guess.
Yeah, I was too. But then I started to think about it, and I think that the rage more comes out the more chance there is, the more rage there is. You know what I mean? If he has a true chance of getting first or being the fastest car, he's gonna be flipping his shit. Whereas if he knows he's only 5th place, there's no reason for him to get animated.
Well, I guess he probably raged enough during the FPs and qualifying. So.
Oh yeah, dude, he was fucking. There was probably a permanent vein sticking out of the center of his forehead all practice and qualifying. Like, literally, I thought he was gonna sprint out of the car. Like, I thought he was gonna be that kid that like runs home playing baseball in like the park. Like, I'm going home. Like, just thought he was gonna like jump out of the car and just like sprint down the paddock during qualifying.
But I mean, honestly, after seeing his performance this weekend and expecting more anger from him, I feel like he is kind of maturing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's good. I would have been disappointed to
agreed.
see something else, like, because again,
Online you always see everyone like talking about how he's such a whiner and like he's ragey and an asshole, and it's like I don't know, I haven't seen that lately, so
yeah. I've been happy to see that too, because it definitely indicates that he's maturing, as a driver, because it's not fun to watch a whiner or someone who's a poor loser. It's not. I mean, that's why sometimes it's frustrating to hear Hamilton complain about the car, because like, you're a great driver, like you can't, like, you gotta just, yeah, it may suck, but like, do what you can with it, because you're you, and that's the way I look at it.
Bitching.
Yeah, exactly. Don't bitch and show us why you're the best. That's the end all be all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. The one last thing I wanted to say too. Freaking Yuki, I think it was in qualifying. He came up on top in qualifying.
Yeah.
That was surprising. And then for him to like get a flat like right off before the first lap, it's like, I'm surprised they didn't put him back in though, and like.
He got damaged with Perez after the beginning, after the start, I believe.
Yeah, it was addition,
and that just fucked this whole race.
Yeah.
And like that was like, the damage wasn't worth so bad. It wasn't the pace loss wasn't worth it.
But with his FP and his qualifying, I would have liked to see him run.
Yes, I'm sure he'd love to race too, but unfortunately, fate doesn't like him right now.
Yeah, definitely not. It's definitely smiling on Lawson.
For reals.
And how pissed had we didn't talk about this, but how pissed had Max have to be to lose in Q2 to Liam Lawson in the AlphaTauri, and then be in the race later and have to fucking pass him, and Liam was not letting him pass. Like, that was not an easy pass by any means, and I loved it a little bit.
You can do like hot take. Is Liam Lawson a young Max Verstappen?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, you could.
Or is he better?
Hot take. Should Max Verstappen be worried about Liam Lawson? And you have a picture of Max looking over his shoulder, or Liam Lawson's back in Photoshop, but like that's how you do it. Don't worry about it.
Bro, yeah. Liam Lawson kicked Max out of Q2.
It's impressive.
Q3 in an AlphaTauri.
And a much worse car.
His third time racing.
It's impressive. That dude is that dude.
Yeah,
that dude's that dude. Been telling y'all for weeks now, that dude's that dude.
Yeah, no.
When you can come into chaos, like when you come into chaos with like a Zandvoort and keep shit out of the wall like he did in the race like that, it shows that dude has competence. It turns out he's more than competent.
He's more competent than fucking Sargent, dude. Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no, Lawson's that dude.
Yeah, it's wild. It's fucking wild.
Like, it just makes you look at Sargent and be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? How did you get where you're at? Like,
yeah, he understeered into the wall, which that happens, but
well,
I really don't want that to happen very often.
No, he's an American racer that grew up in Florida. That's why.
Yeah, Florida will do it too.
Sorry, like, that's what it is. Like,
it's the right turns.
Yeah, it's the right turns, and then the go-karts in the swamp.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you get into F1 as an American for some reason. If you're not in Florida, they don't seem to look at you for some reason.
How about having Danica Patrick on again? Why do they have her still?
I don't know. I literally asked the same question to myself, and I didn't know if I was being an asshole. I'm just like, this is an American race. Like, this is the furthest thing. Why is she even here? Like, I don't understand. She was not a successful F1 driver. She was not even a really successful IndyCar driver. Like, I don't know why we care. Like, I just don't know why we care.
I don't know.
Like, I would much rather see, what's her name? Naomi Singh, I think. She's the one that usually does the commentary for F1, and
Yeah.
she's on some of the Sky Sports stuff. Like, I would much rather have her be up there and talking and doing that kind of stuff than Danica Patrick. Like, I'm actually more annoyed that we continue to trickle in more Americans to do commentary in F1 than not. Like, I don't want to see what's his name from IndyCar, Chip, whatever his name. I don't even know what his name is, but like, he's the guy that always shows up at all of the American races, and I'm just like, I don't want to hear it. I don't care. That's cool. You're not a Formula One driver. You never even made it to Formula One. Like, why do I give a shit what you have to say? Like, IndyCar is not the same. Like, yes, technically an IndyCar can go faster than an F1 car when you do like lap pace ultimately, but like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, IndyCar is all this. It's a spec car. Like, there's no nuance to it. There's no creativity to it. There's no ingenuity to it. Like, I mean, there is, don't get me wrong, but like, different. It's different.
Agreed. But yeah, I just get annoyed listening to her during FPs
Yeah, sorry.
and qual.
That was the only one, so I wasn't prepared for you to say that.
No. I mean, and it has nothing to do with, like you said, I would be fine with Naomi doing it. It has nothing to do with her being a woman or anything.
Nope.
Just her commentary sucks, and she sucked at racing F1, and there's no reason for her to be there.
No, there's not. When she sounds like the analyst asking questions, not the analyst, but the talking head. When she sounds the equivalent of the talking head asking questions about the sport, like, you're not an expert at that point. Like, if you're asking one of the previous drivers questions, why are you there? Like, we already have a guy that does just the standard commentating. We don't need another one of those. Like, we need a commentator and we need a color guy or girl. Like, we don't need two or three.
Agreed.
So
I just want her to go away. That's all.
I know. I just don't think it's going to happen. The more popular that F1 gets, especially in America, the more we're going to see these American... I bet even we start to see ESPN start to take over broadcasts more, and it's not Sky Sports, you know what I mean?
But I feel like if ESPN took over, I don't know, I feel like they would still choose someone other than Danica.
I would hope so. But then again, their knowledge is very lacking when it comes to the motorsport arena. Like, ESPN is ball sports. That's what
True.
they know.
They did do that freaking commentary with what's his face and Daniel, which was horrible. So
yeah, they never did that again. I was back in Monaco, so they've had plenty of opportunities to do that again, and they're just like, no, we're not gonna do that again.
Well, I think they were only going to do the American races. I forget what
Oh, is that what it was?
the next one. I think they're going to do it again for Circuit of the Americas and Las Vegas.
So do we watch it? Do we watch it and
maybe it'll improve?
maybe we'll have comparison between last time and this time?
Maybe.
Jesus. Oh shit. Well, yeah. Well, I guess we'll just have to see what happens in Japan next week. But yeah, hopefully it's more of the same. I'm hoping, or not more of the same. I'm hoping that this is a change, a trend that we're going into of having more competitive constructors, because I want there to be more fighting. I think it's fun when especially when it's clean fighting. I mean, because we didn't have the inbred child on the grid, I feel like that's partly why we didn't have a more heinous like accident, you know. Like, if Stroll had been on the grid, I feel like we might have had a more significant like turn 1 or turn 2 like shunt that would have dramatically changed the outcome of this race. So
I mean, especially with how bad his qualifying crash was.
yeah, dude. Like, that's the thing, is when you're not good, like Lance is not good, you're almost more dangerous than someone who just doesn't know how to drive an F1 car, because like he's good enough to get to those speeds and like be emulating someone that is a, you know, top tier F1 driver, but then when he lets it go, like he lets it go at the worst possible fucking time, and like there's the most carnage. I mean, that's why Mick lost his job, because like he was costing the team too much money. Luckily, Stroll's dad owns the team, but still, that can only go on for so long, I feel like.
Agreed, especially with the cost caps. So,
and I feel like they got to start affecting like the outside stuff too. Like, there's gonna be a point where like them developing the facilities and stuff like that is gonna play a factor too, because like that's just like just able to just do that off on the side without any kind of second thought. That seems kind of crazy.
yeah, agreed.
What was that smirk for?
Yeah.
I was thinking about what Sainz was doing at the end of the race, where I'm not sure this is actually happening, but this is what I am. Internet speak is saying that Sainz was keeping Lando in DRS on purpose because Sainz wanted to keep Lando with enough pace to fight off the Mercedes, but not quite enough pace to be able to pass him. Because he felt like if the Mercedes get past Lando, he's in trouble. But with Lando having the pace from DRS to keep the Mercedes off his back, he'll help Lando keep him in second place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if that's the plan, that's pretty good plan, I think.
I mean, that's what Sainz was saying over the radio. Because Sainz, towards the end, he said my front tires are shot with like 4 laps left.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to maintain and keep distance, and his tactic worked.
Yeah.
I mean, whether or not Russell crashed, the possibility, or whether or not he passes Norris eventually is still questionable, because they only had 1 lap left when Russell crashed. So maybe it would have been like a neck to neck towards the finish line, but
yeah. Yep. I agree, because I thought it was great that at first I didn't think it was on purpose, but then after I noticed, like, Sainz would go through 2 to 3 DRS windows with Norris behind him. If he got within 0.6 or like 0.5 of him delta time wise, then he would get outside of the DRS window to where he'd be like 1.2 or whatever, to where Norris was outside of his DRS window for like 1 or 2 DRS like initiations. But then just when you're like, oh no, Mercedes is catching him, that's when Sainz would just let him back into the window, and it was just perfect, because it was just like Norris would just do this. This was just what Norris was doing the whole last part of the race. It was perfect. Like, it was fantastic to watch.
it was pretty badass.
Yeah, no, it's fun stuff, and like I said, it couldn't happen to a better guy, because you know I like a guy who goes against the grain from a corporate standpoint. So the fact that he can ultimately get Ferrari their first win in a while, I think that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, especially with the winning streak that Red Bull had, and Ferrari to be the first one to come in and upset that.
Yeah. Well, and I've got your this day in history kind of little bit. They talked about it on the broadcast, but Ferrari were the ones that unseated McLaren when they were the ones with the record the last time around. But it happened at Monza, so it happened the race before. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
And I think the other interesting bit of fact was that Alonso has raced enough kilometers to go around the equator 2.5 times.
Holy shit, I didn't know that. That's crazy.
That was today.
Wild, man. 2.5 times?
Yeah, he can go around the Earth 2.5 times for how many kilometers he's driven on the track.
Dude, that's wild. That's absolutely wild. Shit, man. You'd only be so lucky. There's not very many people that can say that. I still think it's crazy when I watch, like, old races back in 2010 and 2011, and like there's still 3 racers that are on the grid that were on the grid back then, you know, and it's Hamilton, Hulkenberg, and I think Magnussen right now, like that, or no, Perez,
Alonso,
sorry, yeah, Alonso. So there's like four of them. So it's just what
the circumference of the Earth is 40,075 kilometers. So 2.5 times. That's 80,000. It's 100,000 kilometers.
So wild, dude. That's so wild. Doesn't surprise me though.
No, I got that. No, yeah, 100,000 kilometers. 2.5 times.
Dang. It's wild.
A little over 100,000.
I think this was pretty soon. It'll be 3. Do you think he'll make it 3 times around before he retires?
I don't know. The average track is what, like 3 miles?
Mm-hmm.
So he would have to race. The average race is about 50 laps, right?
Yeah.
So let's go.
All right, Michael. So what's your
So that's
prediction?
about-
Oh, go ahead.
241 kilometers per race. So then 40,000 divided by 241. He would have to do 165 more races? I don't know if that math is right. but
Average. Yeah. Seems.
I don't know if he'll do that before he retires.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll do that either. So what, we're talking 20 races a season on average now, 22 maybe. So
He'd have to race for like 6-7 more years.
yeah, I don't know if he can do that. Start breaking a hip from the G forces.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! But what I was gonna say is, Michael, what do you think? Do you think that Mercedes, this is a flash in the pan, or do you think that they're on an upward trend for the rest of the season?
It's hard. It's too hard to say. I think Suzuka's going to be a track that's really very all around, which I think Red Bull is really good at. They're just good at a variety of good tracks as they've shown. I think that pace will show for Suzuka. I think they should win very handily. Whether that means that Mercedes is second, I don't know yet, because McLaren has shown their pace is real, and Ferrari has shown their pace is real. They can get everything in order. So I don't think so. I think they're just going to be fighting hard for every point this season, I think.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, yeah, I kind of think so, but I think it's definitely good. It's a good indicator for next year at least. I think that's my big thing, is that we're gonna have 4 to 5 constructors that are going to be competitive next year. I feel like, and maybe I'm just being overly optimistic, but.
Do you think Red Bull's dynasty is kind of over then? Or
I don't think it's over, but I think next year I think next year is closer to a 2021 situation with somebody else, whether that's Ferrari, Aston Martin, or no, it's not. As long as they have that window liquor, they're never going to be truly competitive. But Ferrari or Mercedes or McLaren, like, I think those 3 are truly going to be thorns in the side of Red Bull next year, to where they're not putting a bow on the constructor and the drivers' championship in Japan. You know what I mean? I think it's gonna have to go the length of the season. But I mean, I feel like for their dynasty to truly end, I think it's probably another year or 2, just because of people catching up. If they make significant strides next year, this could be the last year. But I think they've got a 4 in a row in the bank. Just because of the development they've been able to have. So unless someone figures out the secret sauce and is able to jump up there with them, I think we're in a situation of, you know, the Ferrari of yesteryear, the Mercedes of yesteryear. Like, we're just in for, you know, a few more years of that, in my opinion.
well, McLaren's already made 1 growth spurt, so all it would take is 1 more.
Oh yeah, I mean, that
Seems like.
Yeah, so that's just it. Is if they're getting it right, and they're as they come to the fork in the road and they pick the right lane every time, that's gonna play a huge factor into how dominant Red Bull continues to be. But yeah, just this stint of time that they've had, I think, is huge. It's kind of like in, you know, business when you have like first movers and stuff, is that ability to like be successful first is huge. So we'll see. I do like that after qualifying, we haven't seen Toto Wolff at all, and then like the post qualifying show, they have like some sort of expert from the Mercedes garage, like one of the reserve drivers, and he's talking, and then Toto just appears out of nowhere and like stays on for like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay. So Russell gets on the front row, and then we see Toto again. Like, I get it. I mean, it's fair, but like, I just want there to be a meme of like where like Russell's like second on the grid from qualifying, and then you just have like Toto like peering around a corner and be like, is it safe?
He's the guy in the yellow suit peering around the tree.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Also, like, I don't want to get too much into like his appearance or whatever, but like, you remember like when Mercedes was like at their best, like Toto just looked like this like imposing like German, like he just always just looked like super yoked and just like he could do like just take on anyone on the grid. The guy looks like he's like lost a bunch of like muscle and like is super skinny, like he's just been toiling away, like he's back in nerd mode, like trying to like figure out how to make the car better again. Like he's not been able to go to the gym, he's not been able to like meet with his nutritionist or whatever. Like it's just like, gotta make the car better. Like,
Dude, it's probably true.
I feel like it is. Like, I'm not even trying to be mean. I just like saw him and he just looks like a guy who's like been in a cave for like months, just poring over papers and like doing nothing but, you know what I mean?
Maybe he had a kid.
That could be it too. Because yeah, I've lost 20 pounds since I've had a kid, so. What do you think, Michael? You think he's mentally okay, or you think he's just waiting to pounce?
No one who works that much can be okay.
All right, well, I think we've beaten this dead horse as much as we can.